What was the stupidest thing you believed as a kid? There used to be this song we sung in school that if you were good and prayed you'd grow, and if you were bad you'd shrink. So child me took this to mean that short adults were evil and little people were the spawn of Satan. This is true. Chihuahuas are the spawn of Satan if you ask me. I had friend tell me that I had to chew oysters. Otherwise they would stay alive and stuck to your esophagus. Another friend told me to never chew oysters. Otherwise their gastric fluid would erupt and burn my tongue off. I decided to not eat oysters. They're fucking disgusting. Asterisk, I need to get this fucking shell open and eat whatever is inside or I'm going to die. Asterisk. The first guy to eat an oyster. Probably. I used to believe that a band of skeletons would come out, play music and party whenever you turned off the lights and left a room, monsieur. Then they would immediately go back into hiding whenever someone came into the room, monsieur. No one ever told me this. I just made it up in my mind for some reason. Spooky, scary skeletons. My brother convinced me that you have to eat the fortune in a fortune cookie for it to come true. I did it a lot. I'm still trying to convince people of the same 15 years later. Greater than I'm still trying to convince people of the same 15 years later. Any success? Op can't answer. They're choking to death. I thought that all dogs were males and all cats were females of the same species. Kevin? Fuck you, I almost forgot about hi monsieur. Take my upvote. Wherever I go, moon follows me. I know, right? Exclamation mark. It was crazy. I mean, who would believe in the moon? My brother convinced me that when I flushed the toilet that the noise coming from it was the monster attempting to crawl up but inevitably was pushed back down from the water. Subsequently, up until I was a teenager, I had to irrationally flush the toilets prior to use and after. Out of fear, I'm guessing. 100% believed there was a monster. Until reason and maturity kicked in. But do you have any proof that's not a monster? Honestly, at this point, the only monster is what's going down after a night of binge drinking in Taco Bell. Not me, but my sister told my other sister that if you press the main TV power button it will blow up, to stop her turning it off when she couldn't watch what she wanted. I didn't know this until years later. When I wanted to watch something she wouldn't let me, so I turned it off by the power button and she was shocked it didn't explode. At this point she was about 15 and I was about 10 years old. That's bizarre. Did she never wonder how the TV was off and not in a million pieces? Also, until she was 15. Question mark. How old is 15 really? I genuinely believed that rabbits laid eggs up until I was 14. Damn Easter Bunny. They don't. I'm so sorry. Everyone died at the age of 100. No sooner, no later. My parents loved me. Greater than that's funny and sad. We as a family used to tell my younger sisters if they didn't behave we would untie their belly buttons and they would fly away, and that's what had happened to our other sibling that didn't exist. OMG, you're evil. Whenever I would choke on a liquid or food my mom would say it looks like it went down the wrong tube. Quote, my dumb ass thought food and liquids would accumulate in my lungs and that I would have to get surgery. My grandma had dementia, and towards the end of her life, it impacted her ability to swallow food, and she ended up inhaling it and couldn't cough it up. Aspirating was the term the nurses used. She didn't have to get surgery, but she didn't live very long after that. I got soap in my eye and I thought I was going to die. I gave myself 3 days. I decided not to tell anyone because I didn't want to make anybody worry. For 3 days I was the greatest child, friend, brother that someone could ask for. I went to sleep that night fully expecting death. Then I was fine and I was like, well, I'm dumb. What a pure soul. I love this so much. It reminds me that when my first molar came loose, I decided to hide it from my mom because I thought it meant I had a cracked skull. I didn't know that we lost baby molars and adult ones replaced them monsieur, so for a week or however long it took for it to wiggle loose and fall out, I thought that I had some kind of fatal disease and was dying. I remember holding my brother's hand all night. One night, between our bunk beds, thinking that I might not see him the next day. My goldfish ran away. I'm picturing it slapping down the street with a tiny suitcase it stole from Barbie. After accidentally chopping a worm in half whilst digging a random hole in the garden. My sister told me that the worm police were going to come and get me. I'm still on the run. Hashtag WORMPOLICEOPNUP. Balls. You'll never take me alive! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Hashtag YOUARESURROUNDED. Surrender now. My parents told me that industrial smokestacks were cloud factories. I would write letters to the local Purina dog food factory, asking them not to make it rain on my birthday. I was told that if I frowned, my face would freeze that way. That's almost dangerous in a way. You're basically telling children that, if you're mad or sad, you suck. Babies materialize after marriage. So when I was really young, I thought that when the bride and groom kissed at the wedding, the saliva's DNA combined in the woman to make a baby. At least this one is a somewhat smart theory for a kid. I thought holding hands for a really long time made babies. This is probably every kid before knowing what sex is. I thought that women just randomly get pregnant. One time I didn't know what pregnant meant. But I read that women should stop smoking before they become pregnant or they could hurt their children. Mom, did you know that if you smoke it might make you pregnant and then you might hit me? Quote. I would put laughing emojis, but I want to say on the good side of our emoji police that the human population was at a constant. When someone dies, a baby is immediately born. I remember thinking that there must be a lot of babies born during a war because so many people are dying. Partly true because of boomers. There were a lot of babies born after the war. That babies are born with socks, don't ask why. You rarely see one without them, monsieur. My sister managed to convince me that stones were baby boulders. She said that when you drive down a gravel road, the noise you can hear is the stones screaming as you drive over them, monsieur. I told her about this when we were adults. She laughed and said that she must have been a nasty little brat when we were kids. The stupidest thing was that all of the adults around me wanted to eat me. I was really dumb back then. This has a very small chance of being true. Straight up animal instincts, man. Rabbits eat carrots as their main food. Wait, they don't. They eat grass, poop it out, then eat it again. Carrots for rabbits is like eating a kilogram of sugar in one sitting. They prefer to eat grass and lettuce, etc. When I looked at old pictures of my grandparents and thought the world used to be black and white. Lol. I looked at an old picture of an ancestor and it was in black and white. Brought my mom to the picture and said, "Mommy, why did the world used to be so sad?" Quote. Farts were poops that popped. That I would go to hell if I died without having specifically confessed each and every sin. That the world would come to an end with the apocalypse. Probably before I turned 25. Assuming you're not 25 yet, you weren't wrong. I'm double that. And this earth and the humans that inhabit it still have many millennia left in the monsieur. A woman got pregnant by touching a man. Thought it was done by kissing. Same. Well, you're not wrong. I thought debit credit cards were getting thinly shaven in proportion to the cost of the payment. It made even more sense when I saw my mom receive a credit card in the mail. I was like, oh yeah, other one must be getting pretty thin. I thought ATM money came from your account. Obviously a physical box with money somewhere. Through a pipe at the back. Until I found one where I could see the back. And found only wires going from the ATM to the wall. So I deduced the money came in through the wire. In a series of very tight single bill rolls. Was always amazed at how the bills came out of the ATM so flat. That's kinda creative though. I believed that if you jumped off from a high place, like a ledge or a tree branch, You could jump back in midair if you timed it right like in the cartoons. Took me a sprained ankle to learn the truth of that one. I truly believed the moon was stalking me. I noticed it following me when I was walking or in the car with family at night. I was fucking scared. I couldn't get away. I was even afraid it was looking at me through my ceiling, waiting that I would go outside. One day, when I saw it in the daytime, my little mind couldn't process it. How is the sun and moon out at the same time? Is this it? Is it finally going to take me away? Cue me crying and my mom having to explain how the moon works. The Majora's Mask moon must have really messed with you then. That chocolate milk came from brown cows. I know I was an idiot. Then I'm an idiot as well because I thought strawberry milk came from feeding cows strawberries. I feel less stupid now, thanks. XD. I used to get migraines as a child, which is not really normal. When I would hear about migrant workers, I thought they were also people that had migraines and somehow had the fortitude to continue working. Guerrilla warfare involved actual guerrillas. I can already imagine American soldiers in the Vietnam War on patrol in the jungle, and all of a sudden they hear a hidden Viet Cong shout in Vietnamese, "Release the guerrillas," quote, and immediately after the deafening screech of bloodthirsty guerrillas as the soldiers run for their lives. DK. Donkey Kong. If your car tires touched the solid lines, the police would come. Turns out it was just a highway exit and people would crash there all the time, lol. Wrestling was real. I was a big fan of the WWF. Back before the World Wildlife Fund lawsuit forced them to change to WWE. Back in the days of Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, I fully believed that wrestling was 100% real. My father, who is also a fan, tried telling me that it was fake, but I refused to believe. Hi monsieur, after all. Young me reasoned, how could you possibly fake being hit with a steel chair hitting someone after jumping off a turnbuckle? Yeah, I was extremely naive back then. They actually hit each other with steel chairs, just in a loving way. If you ate a watermelon seed, a watermelon plant would grow in your tummy. This was also true for apples, pears, and I wouldn't eat certain berries for fear of having a thorny plant in my stomach. That it's awesome to be an adult and I'll grow up to be happy. A child can be born only if the parents are married and the child is born on any day God wishes. I watched Armageddon when it came out and our house was about a mile from a hospital with a helipad. For some stupid reason I thought every helicopter that would fly near our house was a cataclysmic asteroid that was going to destroy the world. There were like 2 or 3 helicopters every week that would fly at night when I was trying to sleep, so I was scared a lot. I don't know if this is the most stupid. I believed the moon started out as a tiny sliver and began waxing until it was a full moon at midnight. After midnight the moon would start waning until morning. I have no clue how I came to think this. That one day, posts like these won't pop up twice a day, every day. My cousin could not say baloney, so he was taught to call it monkey meat. When I heard that, I was convinced I had been lied to and forced to eat monkey meat. We got stuck in traffic while under a bridge. It was raining, but coincidentally the rain stopped while we were under the bridge. The rain started right back up again after we got out from under the bridge. It would have been a lot more helpful if the rain stopped when we were out from under the bridge. Stupid rain. That family will always be there for you. It's not true. It's the people who are willing to spend their time and energy on you just as much as you are willing to do it for the monsieur. The Bible was a book about a guy who T-posed in the sky all day. Well, I mean, he's T-posing to this day in Rio SMH. Definitely not the Bible, but I would love to see a book about that. Mom was just wrestling with my uncle in bed, naked. There was only one band in the world and they played all the songs on the radio. This thesis was based largely on data collected by the one radio station that my parents listened to, which was 90s pop. that if it was raining where I lived, it was raining everywhere. That's why I always got annoyed when ever other Brits kept complaining about the weather here. I thought 20% chance of rain meant it would rain only 20% of water. I used to think that too, as I lived in a fairly small town. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.